Welcome to a special Goof game review. I'm Jacob, and today we'll be diving back into Night City as Cyberpunk 2077 has finally gotten its next-gen upgrade on the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 consoles. Along with this upgrade comes patch 1.5, giving us some new features and some quality of life changes to the game. Now, I don't think I'm being too harsh when I say that when Cyberpunk 2077 released in December of 2020, it was a little less than what people were expecting. Constant bugs and crashes were commonplace to say the least, and many of the promises CD Projekt Red made were nowhere to be found in the game at launch. Despite all this, however, I was still able to have a good time with the game. I thought that the story, while lacking, was still a solid story, despite missing many of the RPG elements promised to us. I grew attached to many of the characters, such as Jackie, Judy, Panam, and Johnny, just to name a few. It definitely helped that I went into the game knowing basically nothing about it, so my expectations were almost non-existent. This is not to say that the game was perfect, not by any means, but I did have a good time. When cars weren't spontaneously exploding and falling from the sky.
I can't believe you've done this.
So now that the game is almost having a soft reboot of sorts, what makes it so different? For starters, both the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 are receiving the next-gen upgrade, which adds the option to play the game with Performance Mode, which gives you 60 FPS with dynamic 4K scaling, or to enable Ray Tracing, which gives you more realistic shadows and reflections, but keeps the game running at around 30 FPS. Other visual quality improvements have been added as well, making the game just look and feel better, even if it's only slightly. Along with this change comes improved crowd reactions too, making NPCs feel more responsive.
Oh, come on!
All current and last-gen consoles, as well as PC, have also received patch 1.5, which is where most of the changes come from. Finally, you can change your appearance while playing the game. Previously, once you began the game, your appearance was locked, meaning that you were stuck with that awful haircut for the next 20 hours at least. The clothing system still makes you choose between stats and style, but one step at a time. The whole in-game economy has also been rebalanced, meaning that cars and cyberware are more affordable, fixers will give higher rewards, and the overwhelming amount of loot found throughout the world has been decreased. On the topic of fixers, they've been updated as well, meaning they won't bombard you with all their quests at once, but rather have a progression system, making everything feel more manageable. Also, you can now decline phone calls from them and opt to receive texts instead, meaning that you will never have to hear Regina ask you to look into another cyber psycho attack ever again. This patch also introduces new weapons and weapon attachments, but more importantly, new apartments. You can now purchase 4 new apartments throughout the world, each having their own personality, allowing you to almost feel like you're playing an RPG at times. You'll also be able to change the look of V's starting apartment, being able to choose from 6 different color combinations. There are many other small bug fixes and patches added into 1.5, but these are the major changes added to make the game feel more like the complete package it should have felt like at launch. While CDPR still has a long road ahead of them if they want to repair the damaged reputation the release of Cyberpunk 2077 gave them, this is a small step forward. Hopefully the DLC coming sometime in the future will provide even more changes people have been asking for, as it seems like CDPR is sticking with the game for a while. So what did you think of the next-gen version of Cyberpunk 2077? Will you be jumping back into Night City? Or maybe you'll be starting your adventure for the first time as a legend in the afterlife. Either way, let me know your thoughts down below. Until next time.